A very good evening, all of you, to all the friends joining us live from various platforms, YouTube especially. Thank you for being a part of the journey that we are taking with 360 Digit MG and the growth story that we are offering. So, welcome to all of you to yet another session of career guidance from 360 Digit MG. This particular session will predominantly focus in the space of what one needs to do to ensure that we get a job. And it'll be focusing in the paraphernalia of the resumes. So around the resume, around the process of getting a job. So getting trained, having the adequate skills, all those things are a given. It's all those things are assumed that you have it. That is why you are now seeking an employment. But how to make the best use of the available digital resources that are there today will be discussed in detail, and we will see how to help you out in this particular career path. So once again, welcome to 360 Digit MG, your partner for all your success stories, all your skill development in the space of analytics and emerging technologies. And please do check out our website for free skill development training programs that we are offering. So we are offering a whole plethora, close to 14 programs. You can check out our website www.360digitmg.com. In that website, we are offering a whole plethora of free programs. So please check that out. And let's begin our agenda for today, that is the career guidance. So how does one get a job? It is a very wrong notion that it is the resume alone that helps you to get a job. It is, in fact, multiple things that work together towards a person's success in achieving that dream, the job. All right. And everything is equally important. It is not like you can compensate for the absence of one with the improvement of the other. Right. You cannot say that my resume is so strong. I don't really need the other things. So multiple things go into it. Yes, of course. The essential aspect or the primary aspect is still very much the resume. That is where it starts. But the resume itself has transformed into a very, very beautiful piece. It has become like a, metamorphized into a different thing. Today, we are talking of not just text, but photographs. We're not just talking about photographs, but hyperlinks. We're not just talking about textual, but video resumes. Multiple things are there in that particular space. But yeah, we will be discussing that in due course. Then, of course, most importantly, if you are a job seeker, you must have a LinkedIn profile. And if today is your day zero, that is today, you propose to start applying for your job, then day minus 300, at least minus 300 or even older, you should have a LinkedIn profile. At least 6 months old. I'm sorry, at least a year old. All right, close to a year old, 10 months old, your LinkedIn profile should be there, whereby you should be, over a period of time, connecting with the people. So that is one thing. Similarly, your GitHub repository, GitHub is an amazing place where you are able to create all the things. But unfortunately, it is also very, very cruel. When I say cruel, it is very mean. When I say that, it will put a timestamp to whatever activity you have done. So if you're trying to, if you attempt to fake it, quickly, I am ready for a job. Somebody said GitHub, so let me start quickly. I'll do 10 projects today, 20 projects tomorrow, to 30 projects day after. So therefore, I have got a total of 50 projects, 50, 60 projects that I have done on GitHub in the last 1 week. Now maybe it will be noticed. Anybody will see through it that you have been desperately doing all these things. It is not a consistent effort. All right. The ideal approach or the ideal way the GitHub looks like is when you are a learner, when you are starting fresh, you will have maybe one, maybe two a week. All right, maybe 1 or 2 or 15 days. Then it will increase. Then the amount of contribution that you do to the project or to the activity, that is, you may first do very simple things. Like, for instance, if we are talking about a job in the space of data science, then the first couple of 3, 4 postings or the savings that you do on your GitHub repository will be fundamental things about EDA, about statistics, about what you're learning and what is the things you're doing. As you progress further, as you progress deeper and deeper into it, it should show your transition, or it should show how your learning process has been progressively increasing. All right. So that is an essential aspect when you are dealing with the GitHub repository. So this is very important. Unfortunately, this particular session that we conduct almost every other weekend is to ensure that people who are not yet ready to apply for jobs, who are still, in their learning phase or still contemplating or even not yet started their journey of analytics or any upskilling technologies, must start with these things already. It is not to be done in sequence, it is to be done in parallel. All right. Even before you start your course that you plan to do, all these things. All right. So that is the GitHub repository. Quora is another forum where not just reading and liking or commenting, simple commenting, but also trying to answer the questions. If some trying to look for, using certain keywords and searching for the aspects and trying to find out what is what. Commenting on those areas is the other aspects. All right. Kaggle, of course, is something that will come later in part of your, training journey. Again, if you are at day 0 today, wherein you are going to, start applying for jobs. So at least 100 days day minus 100, you should have started your Kaggle work. You should have started participating. You should have, that is the bare minimum. Minus 100 is the bare minimum. Minus 200, minus 300 also is what we will be looking at. So you will have to participate. You will have to probably only have participation certificates in initial stages, then contribute more and more in the Kaggle to, obtain some kind of rankings. All these are important. And of course, your personal network, having connections through LinkedIn and Facebook. Your LinkedIn profile, the existence of your LinkedIn profile, the activities, the organizations that you like, that you follow, that you comment on, all these are one thing. And connecting with the respective people within the LinkedIn, etc., and ensuring that they are able to, assist you. These are the other things. So these are some of the aspects that we'll be trying to discuss as part of our brief discussion today. All right. So moving along. The methods by which we are, the most popular methods by which the hiring channels that exist, all right, are of course the LinkedIn, social media, employee referrals, and the personal network. All right. Unfortunately, the personal references are something that still is very much relevant. All right. Because it is always the scenario where a unknown devil is better than the unknown angels. If there is an employee or there is somebody who is vouching for the person to join, all right, then it makes things easier. All right, it makes things easier for the recruiter to take care of. The recruiter doesn't have to spend too much time. So that unfortunately still exists, and therefore you will have to create that personal network over a period of time, connect with the regular people. And this is again, like I said, minus 300. So it is a everyday process that you have to do. You have to keep building on it. Do not expect magic. Do not expect like, I do today and it will be done. So that is what it is. And another sources by which people, do that is through social media, through external sources, sourcing firms, referrals, and also creating a pipeline of the people in the organization. All right, whereby people are, you know, in the waiting period. They'll say, "We have your resume," and when the vacancy opens up, we'll be giving you an opportunity. So those things also are there, but of course, not many people would prefer to stay in the pipeline. But yeah, that is also another method by which we have. All right. So this is something that you may want to um, be aware of before you decide to plunge into it. So what should your resume contain? Now, whatever format you use, whether you're using a Word or a PDF format, all right, the appearance. Of late, the photograph of the person is very important. It shouldn't matter. All right. It shouldn't matter how a person looks. It shouldn't matter all these things. But ultimately, we don't want to leave any stone unturned in the process of making our dream of getting that job. So therefore, your um, appearance, your face, all right, how pleasing you are. Are you a well groomed person? All right. Everybody in the photograph obviously looks well. So, a well groomed photograph, a person who's got a pleasing personality, who doesn't have a scowl on his face or who's not, always morose, a smiling, a happy kind of a thing. This particular person will gel well with the organization. This particular person will be, something that we can put in the organization and will also improve the happiness quotient of the organization. These are some of the subtle things that many people look for, the HR people looks for in the organization. All right, your responses should be very happy. And then I'll come to the interview in a moment. I'll come to that in a moment. But yeah, that's one thing. So you need to use a lot of right keywords because today we are in the digital age and all your resumes get chosen. You are being picked up by the algorithm to start with. All right. Among the hundreds of thousands of resumes that exist, the few 50, 60, 70, 100 resumes that are getting picked up are getting picked up on the basis of the right keywords. So if you are looking for a job in the space of machine learning, big data analytics, or AI, or deep learning, or recurrent neural networks, or things like that. Let us say somebody's talking about predominantly in the space of NLP projects. So ensure that you have used those right keywords in your resume, so that when the search engine is going or sifting through these various resumes, is able to pick up like there is this particular resume has all these words. So that is one thing. So ensure that you use the right keywords. All right. And also ensure that you do not lie in your resume, because I think they are now having a very, very strict policy. Any fraudulent activities found out with reference to the people's resume, anything fraudulent or anything that they have seen, that they are not only permanently blacklisted, but in certain organizations, they broadcast that information as well. They sometimes put it on the website that these were the people. I mean, in certain cases, and PSUs especially, they will inform like this is a fraudulent activity. They'll inform it in their circles. So please do not indulge in any malpractices or anything that is fake or incorrect or something that you are not very comfortable, right? If you have learned something, if you are learning something, or if you are keen on something, you can mention that you can mention that currently pursuing or currently learning or interested in what are my interests. My interests are in this space, and these are some of the things that I have read and understood the white papers and contributed. So declare yourself as a learner to a particular profile, but you cannot make your entire resume that I'm learning this, I'm learning that, I'm learning everything. No, you have to be an expert in certain things, and you'll have to say that you are a learner of various other things. So that is something that you may want to, take up. All right. And projects, yes, you may want to mention the projects, no dummy projects. Don't copy the projects of your colleagues or friends or batchmates. All right. You should have done it. Please remember, the person hiring you knows more than you. All right. It is not like the organization doesn't have a position for data scientists. Therefore, anything you tell them is something that they will listen to. They obviously know much more than you know, and they will be able to figure out if a particular project is a fake project or a you have just copied it from somewhere, all right, or you've actually performed in that. So there are certain questions that they will ask you as to the project that you should be very ready to answer. So training details and is a strict no. I've got a training in this, training in that. Again, not mentioning your training, not mentioning that you've gotten trained from XYZ ABC Institute is not lying. It is hiding the truth. All right. So you need to project that you know these things. Now, in the face-to-face interview, whenever it happens, how did you learn? Yes, you can mention that I was a student here and I learned certain things, etc. But definitely not in the resume. All right. And if you have done some POCs, proof of concepts, as part of your training program or as part of a project that was done, then please do mention that it is a, please do mention that it will, I'm sorry, please do mention that it is a POC. It is not a executed project. All right. And like I said, the underlying thing is that you should project yourself as a person who is honest, and not just honest, who's also technically well versed in his activities. And all right. So that is with reference to the resume. All right. Now, in the process of the interview, now trust me, you will be mentioning 2 to 3 to 4 maybe projects, minimum 2. If you're having less than 2 projects mentioned in your resume, it's going to be a little weak. The resume or the candidature is going to be a little weak. Nobody is going to pick you. Okay. So what you need to probably do is you need to ramp it up with more projects. You have to do those projects. Now, one of the common questions that the interview will ask is, what were the shortcomings? What were the problems that you faced? All right, in your scenario. All right, what were the problems that you faced? And what are the bottlenecks in the process? So that is something that only a person who has worked with the project will be able to tell. And you should get excited when the interviewee asks, what is the problems did you face? You should get excited. You should actually show that excitement. Well, actually, when we started this, we were expecting this, and you should show that enthusiasm, which will immediately reflect, or which will immediately prove to the interviewer that you have actually done the project. Otherwise, actually, there was no problem, but when other people something like that, that is the end of the story. If you start off on those lines, that is the end of. So bottlenecks in the process is something that you must be thorough. How did you collect the relevant data? Because as far as data science jobs are concerned, 80 to 90% of your life as a data scientist would be about the initial phase of data data collection and data pre-processing and EDA. So you will have to also dwell upon the collection of relevant data and also explain what really you did. The simple explanation: we did histogram, we did box plot, we did bar chart, and we found this. No, You'll have to be a little more detailed. When we did the EDA, we found while there were no outliers, but there was a lot of data which was sticking very close to the fence value. While theoretically they were not outliers, I'm just giving an example. While theoretically they were not outliers, they were all sticking very close to the fence value. So therefore, we tried to address those issues in a separate case study. Is it all right? So that is another aspect that you need to take off. I'm just giving an example. Then, of course, model building, validation, and training. These things, trust me, when you reach to this particular phase, all right, by the time you reach to this particular phase, the interview would have understood that, yeah, you have done your due diligence and you have taken care of whatever you have taken care of, and you would have say, okay, that is fine. We'll talk about the next project. Trust me, this is what it is. Unfortunately, what happens, people spend more time preparing to explain about the model, the validation, etc., whereas the interviewers will be more interested in the first 3-4 phases. So that is with reference to the, pardon me, with reference to the explanation of the project. It should come like a story. And it should also tell about where you spend more time, where you spend less time. Social media and networking, like I said, at least minus 300 is where you need to start. We need to build your LinkedIn profile. You need to, update it. You need to connect with the relevant people. You need to ensure that you don't, it should be a continuous process. Speak to, connect with the right people, connect with people with high, degree centrality, not just the degree centrality, but the closeness centrality, etc. All right. Etc. All right. So ensure that you do all those things. And of course, participate in discussions, expert exchange, all these things, workshops, competitions, etc. So these are some of the things that one must do. Okay. And sorry, previous slide was with reference to social media, but again, the Facebook and I actually spoke about the LinkedIn thing in the previous slide. So basically, social media networking or Facebook is something very, very, it's like a double-edged sword. Now, the sorry, it is like what I meant by a double-edged sword is that you are free to say anything on the social media, but unfortunately, what you do on the social media is going to be imprinted for life. It never forgets. All right. So if you have strongly opposed or if you have made some highly, strongly political comments 3 years, 4 years, 5 years back, if you have been a staunch supporter of a particular party, if you've been, openly opposing various things, trust me, these things also are being observed in the social media platform, and the organizations do not want to engage with people who have very strong opinions. All right, they want predominantly people who are of neutral opinion, who do not speak very strongly about various things. All right, I will tell you an example of my cousin. That person is working for a European based MNC in India. वहां पे रखा था मैंने, वहां पे फ्रंट रूम में, डाइनिंग रूम में, वहां पे रखा था, उसी के बगल में. Sorry, in a European based MNC, and during the currently the war that is going on, between Russia and Ukraine, he was mentioning how his organization is very, very touchy about that particular subject because they are based out of Europe. And therefore, any for or against comments of any party on the social media or things like that, because they were now watching of their own employees, they were watching their social media presence, and because they cannot be shown that the employees of the said company are, um, favoring or anti or any of those things. So that is the extent of their own employees. You can imagine what is the expectation with reference to the employees that they plan to recruit. So it is recommended to be neutral. It is recommended not to be radical on any of the things. All right, except probably for if you really want maybe a cat or a dog or things like that, you can probably do that. But otherwise, it is not really recommended. So that is with reference to the social media profile. I already mentioned about how the LinkedIn profile must be created. Ensure that you not only increase your degree centrality, which is with reference to the number of direct connections, but also increase your eigenvector centrality, which is connecting to the right people. All right. Once you connect to a really high profile person, then automatically there'll be other people who will be wanting to connect to you because you are connected to a high profile person. Now, that first step is going to be a little difficult, but you'll have to be persistent. All right. Trying to connect to a senior CEO of a mid-sized organization or following a person. If you keep trying, it will happen. All right. You may send connection requests to 100 people, 3 people may accept it. That is good because those 100 people are high flying or top executives, which is what is going to improve your eigenvector centrality. If you have learned data science from us 360 digit MG, you would have understood about those things. So that is something that you need to do, and post which your GitHub repository, your Kaggle rankings and meetup groups, experts exchange, all these things. Like I said, no shortcuts, no magic, no silver bullet. If you are consistently performing, if you're consistently increasing, and it is not like a bell curve, it is like it starts it starts slow and then it keeps increasing, right? It keeps increasing. That is how your GitHub repository should be, and probably it can plateau off at a particular point, that every 4 days, 5 days you are doing one project, you are a habit of working on that, but it should start slow and then go up. And you can definitely expect people to chase you once you reach that particular level, right? You don't really have to chase companies. You can actually expect people to chase you once you get to that level. So that is essentially what my advice to you people is. So even if you have not done all these things, don't lose heart. All right, don't lose heart. We'll start from today. All right, let this be the day zero. We'll set a target at day 50, at day 100, at day 150, at day 200. What are the things I need to do? Put a timeline. All right. So I'm going to first create GitHub repository. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, create a LinkedIn profile. Connect to the important people. Please, please, please do not make LinkedIn another Facebook or Instagram. All right. Follow things that are relevant to your line of work. All right. Follow those steps step by step. All right. And then you will be good to go. All right. And one last slide. Most important thing is understand the different roles. Ensure that you are matching with them. Now, your resume, which is of 1 to 2, maybe 3 pages. 3 pages is a bit too much. 2 pages is ideal. You cannot give justification to everything that you do. All right. You may be having a lot more things and you might have done a lot more projects, but you may not be able to justify everything. If a particular job description requires a certain skill set, for instance, you have done 3 projects. One of them is an NLP project, one of them is an AI project, and one of them is a machine learning project. And if the job description requires an NLP experienced person, you may want to speak more about the NLP project, keeping the three as it is, but the number of lines mentioned in your resume for the NLP project a little more. So you may have to tweak it a little bit here and there to adjust it. So once you are ready with these things, all right, you are good to go, and wish you the very best. And don't lose heart. All right. Great things have happened when you make the correct start. So if today is the day you are making your start, let us plan ahead and we will definitely achieve success. Thank you so much. And once again, thank you for joining 360 Digit MG's YouTube channel. Thank you.